It's BYU. It's Utah. The rivalry week. Throw it down on an election week. Man, this week is nuts. It's going to be awesome. BYU and Utah, Saturday night, 8:15 kick. We'll get coverage started at noon with Cougar Sports Saturday. We'll be up at Roland Hall in Salt Lake with some extended pregame beginning at noon. We're going to have a lot of fun in Salt Lake. Mitch, Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you. And, Matt, I think we should get out to the phone line and take some more calls. 801-575-8255. Let's get out to our anonymous Ute caller. What's on your mind?
So I am a huge, crazy Utah fan. No, I'm not a Cougar. I was raised a Cougar, but luckily I got educated on football. Just kidding. I'm just teasing.
Ouch, that was painful.
I'm just teasing. I have to say, though, BYU is playing like the Utes should be this year. The Utes put all of their hopes and dreams on Cam Rising, which they should have stopped doing 2 seasons ago. Isaac Wilson did not get developed like he should have as a quarterback with their team, and Utah is playing very poorly offensively, but they're playing like a whole bunch of independent players running plays and not like a team running plays to gain offensively and defensively. And as sad as so terribly sad that it is, this game is not going as much rivalry, as much adrenaline and posturing is going into this game already. I don't think it's going to be as tight of a game as the Utes as we would like it to be. I would like to see them play better. I'd like them to do more running plays. I would like the offensive team to actually be a team, but they're not playing that way this year. And I've gone to every rivalry game since 2006, and I'm not going to the game Saturday. I can't set myself up for that kind of disappointment.
I think some BYU fans feel that way too, that they're afraid to go to the game from the disappointment side of things.
Well, I've been to all the winning Utah games. I've been to 2 losing Utah games at Lavelle Edwards, and it's a hard thing to take. But what's harder is to watch these schools that, as we put all of this energy and emotion into football and get excited and root for our teams and be proud of them, and to see them play at a lower level football than we expect out of the schools. And BYU is playing like you haven't seen them play for 18 years. Like Kalani Sitake, whatever he's done this year, he lit them on fire, and they are playing amazing. Yes, they still have opportunity, but comparatively to the Utes, they're not in the same level of football this year.
It's good stuff. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I think there's a good point there, Mitch, which is I think BYU fans maybe are undervaluing the importance of continuity and chemistry. Coach Witt today did his press conference. You can go watch it online, but we'll have a couple clips for you later in the show. He talked about how in this NIL era, he's got like 50 new players up there at Utah. And BYU went through this last year when they had a roster overhaul with about 50% new players on that team as well. It's hard to develop chemistry and to get things to click. Jake Retzlaff has talked about this a lot. Like, what's the biggest difference between last year and this year? And he's like, repetition, time together. That still matters in college football, and BYU does have a decisive edge in that category coming up this Saturday.
Back to the phone lines we go, and we want to hear from all of you in Cougar Nation and, Ute fans as well. If you want to get on board here and share your thoughts on the game, how confident are you that BYU will beat Utah this week? 801-575-8255. Spencer from St. George, how confident are you?
Mitch and Matt, the M&M's like a legendary candy. Good to talk to you.
Good talking to you.
You too.
I got 2 things real quick for you. First off, I'm tired of hearing all the BYU is a fluke. They're winning this just by luck, and this game by luck, and this game wasn't supposed to be won. That's said by a small number of dorks of a certain fan base because they're peanut butter and jealous that we look more like their old selves than they do currently. And I'm tired of hearing that. I'm glad to see that this game is coming so we can put that to rest. Second thing, what gives me a lot of confidence is the way that the team has responded to adversity, because we all know with the history of this game, it's going to come. This game is crazy. a team can be way better than the other one, but it's still a close game 95% of the time. But for example, Jake Retzlaff, if he has, some bad gas and turns the ball over, he doesn't shrink in the moment and dwell on it. He rebounds well. The team surrounds him well, and they respond just amazingly. So I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Spencer, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate that. That's some good stuff because I do think that BYU, they have this ability to respond at a high level. I mean, and I think that UCF game a couple of weeks ago was a prime example where BYU's up 17-10, and you feel like momentum is swinging in favor of the Knights. 2-minute drill action, and Jake loves that. He goes down the field, connects with Chase Roberts. It's 24-10, and that slams the door shut on any chance of UCF pulling off what would not have been an upset, but really taking that game over and, really kind of asserting itself with the momentum. So I love that take because this BYU team is not a fluke. They're one of the best teams in college football this year. We need to stop thinking that BYU is just smoke and mirrors winning these games. They're dominating their opposition in these Big 12 games. Outside of the Oklahoma State game, BYU is controlling these games, and that's why, coming up tomorrow, Matt, that college football playoff ranking, I'm optimistic that BYU could be, 8, 7, maybe as high as 6 potentially, because you look at the game control, you look at the strength of record. This is not some fluke BYU team. This is a really good group that across the board is very balanced in all three phases.
Cougar Nation is a national fan base, Mitch, and this show is going national as well. We got a caller from the great state of Nevada. Kurt, what's your confidence level that BYU is going to get the win this week?
Look, I am very confident talent-wise. We have the ability 100% to blow them out of the water, but being that this is a rivalry game, every single rivalry game, both teams show up, and so I am confident that we will win. But I also think that if Kyle Whittingham is smart, he'll kick his team into gear and say, look, do we want a losing season this year? If we're going to turn this program around this year, it's got to start with beating BYU. And so I think that the Cougars, if we go in thinking, oh, yeah, we're so much better than them, we got this in the bag, we're going to win no matter what, that is when we're probably going to lose. So we have to make sure that we're not getting too hot-headed, too overly confident, but just going in, making sure that everyone is not missing any assignments, that we're getting the job done, we're controlling the rock, and that if, Jake Retzlaff has minimal turnovers, and as long as the whole team as a whole, right, is not turning over the ball and making mistakes, it should be a very easy win. But we just have to be able to be humble enough to not think that all the time, because anything can change in a rivalry game.
Good stuff, Kurt. Yeah, it's true. You have to go in the right approach. I would disagree slightly on the Utah point of things, Mitch. We touched on this earlier, but you just can't assume in today's day and age of college football that the players are going to respond to the message of, we want to get the program back on track. How many of these guys care about the program? How many of them are looking at the portal or looking for their next opportunity? That's what makes this so interesting, is we've never had a game like this where there's the NIL component, the transfer portal component, where it's unlimited transfers. How does Utah respond? That's a big question in this game.
Cougar Nation sponsored by Central Bank. News, traffic, and weather. We'll get to your phone line, Austin from South Jordan. More Cougar Nation after this.